to week 19 of the Race Country Cottage Thai house build. Thanks for joining me. This week, only partially busy. On Monday it was rained out, really heavy rains. On Tuesday the roofing team were here, spent the whole day and put the Colorbond roof on the carport, which you'll see in the video. On Wednesday we took a trip to Mukdahan to deal with our kitchen designer. Just playing around with some tile options for the kitchen and other design elements. Friday we took a trip to That Phanom and met with our builder to look at exterior color options and design options for what we might do with the outside of the house. You'll see some of that in the video. On Friday they delivered electrical supplies to the site, and then on Saturday and today Sunday the electrician is busy starting work on installing the electricals. Just putting in junction boxes before the conduit goes in, and then the wires are put into the system. It's been a great week, mostly sunny from Tuesday on till today. Things are progressing. I think there'll be another probably 3 months worth of work. Once the electricals are done, the roofing team will come in to put, sorry, not the roofing team, the ceiling team will come in to put the soffits in around the outside and the ceilings on the inside of the house. Anyway, still probably good 3 months or more of videos to come. Thanks for joining me, and come along on this week's update, and look forward to catching up next week for week 20. Cheers. As you can see, it's a very wet and rainy Monday morning on the build site. Now, that's a good thing, because we get to test the back porch Colorbond roof, and obviously the house roof, to see whether there's any leaks. And I'm happy to report it's dry, dry, dry. Can't find any leaks anywhere on the main house roof or the back porch roof, so looks like at least the install so far is a success. It rained most of the day, and nobody did anything until Tuesday, when the roofing team showed up on site and began work on our carport. Happy to see this part of the build completed. Take all the metal sheets and lift them up onto the metal structure they had in place. This is my partner. He's up on the roof checking it all out. So this fella in the blue shirt is the boss of the roofing team. He owns the roofing company, and he's always on site directing his team in terms of the install to make sure everything goes correctly. He's been at it for 30 years and fairly experienced, and from the result so far, pretty happy. So there, you can see here they're putting the panels up onto the metal structure, lifting everything manually up. And once they get them all in place through this manual process, they screw them down with self-tapping screws, that you'll see later, into the metal beams. Bit of work balancing on the metal beams and the roof to get this up into place. There's a bit of video here on the roof install, because I thought it was fairly interesting. I hadn't seen a Colorbond roof being installed before, and so maybe a bit long on the roof video, but if you haven't seen it yourself, then you'll understand how it's all done. So from the pile, move it over, and it's lifted up into place. It's a very long piece. I think it's the longest piece. One bit of the structure. Weather was great, which was lucky. It only rained on Monday and the rest of the week was clear. So it's a 5mm Colorbond with a 2.5 centimeter backing of PU foam. As they get it down, they slide it into place. And then the roofing sheets overlap each other, so you can see the fellow lifting it up here. And they get it into place to overlap correctly before they... Now this is the same activity, but just taken from the top of the roof. As I say, you see the boys balancing themselves on the beams. Got great balance, a lot better than mine. I wouldn't be up there balancing. I'd be falling through and onto the ground. See? Slide it up to the house wall. So later on, you see when the roof is all in place, there's in place a flashing against the house. This is the self-tapping screws they use with the washers on the end to screw into the roof. So on the high ridge, they screw down into the metal. And it's got a rubber washer on it as well for weather protection. The Colorbond roofs, I think these are supposed to be good for 15 or so years. A lot of them are around a lot longer than that. And with the PU foam on the bottom, it cancels out a lot of the rain noise. So the 5mm thick metal with the PU foam, actually, it's quite fairly quiet, which I'm pretty happy with. It's all outside, so that's okay. It's just on the back porch where we're a bit worried, but standing there in the rain, quite happy. When you're inside with the door shut, you're not going to hear anything. You can tell these boys have been at it for years. No hesitation in what they're doing, and work progresses fairly quickly. It only took them one day to put the garage roof up and put the flashing in and the edge trimming. Unfortunately, there's 2 pieces of fascia board missing, and there was 2 pieces of flashing missing, one for the back porch and one for the garage. That's on site now, so the roofer will be back to fix that up sometime when the roof tile pieces are back. And this is just some video of the drone of the work on the roof. I'll just let that play out and you can see what's going on. So here we're just showing the metal fillers that are installed at the end of the metal roofing to cover the PU insulation foam. Well, it's all neat and tidy. And this is the flashing finishing around the edges of the fascia for the sides of the roof. So it's all done, finished off, very neat and tidy. And that's what it looks like from underneath. So the boys were just about finished our roof, so we bought them 5 large pizzas for lunch, which they enjoyed. So the ground level for the house is where this beam is for the carport. So that's the level the ground needs to be all the way around. So this fella was digging out around the house to get it down to that level. So 70 meters from the porch is where the ground level is. Clearing it out so they can render down there. And they're also rendering on the columns for the house. Here the fellow who dug out around the house is now starting to render the walls just below the porch. It's the same on the porch in the front as well as the porch in the back. So this week was the start of the install for the electrical systems in the house. Here's some drawings of the lightings in the various rooms and outside, and then the power points around the house. On Friday they delivered supplies, wire, conduit, junction boxes, etc., ready for install. This was the electrician, who's also the site foreman, who just going through everything. His first job was to install junction boxes, so where the conduit is in the wall, he's installing junction boxes on those conduit as a first step. And they go around the whole interior of the house doing that. That'll be followed then by joining the junction boxes with conduit and then pulling wires. Probably later next week. Here you can see some of the junction boxes installed very neatly onto the metal frames at the top. I haven't counted the boxes, but they're a large number when you go to all the various rooms. Then there was the team started to render the columns. The columns on the front porch and the back porch needed to be rendered. So the first step was to put string lines in place for the corner beads, same as they did on the walls in the house. They do the corner beads on the columns. So using plumb bob and ruler, they measured the right distance for each corner bead, and then here they're putting concrete on the post ready to set in this corner bead, as you can see here, like this. You can see the string line behind. So go around, I think there's probably 3, 6, 8 columns to be done. On Wednesday we took a trip to Mukdahan, about 40-minute drive south of us, to go to Home Pro to see our kitchen designer, to do some work on tiling and design work. So that's just what it will probably look like when it's finished. Friday we went to That Phanom, which is about a 50-minute drive away, to meet with our builder. Went for lunch, and then near the clock tower at this restaurant, good food. Went to this lovely coffee shop on the Mekong River, and met with our builder to talk about house colors and what it might look like. Something like this is in mind, using these kind of colors, earth tone and blacks. There's an option to go with brown, and then we also looked at the option of maybe not coloring the columns, so still a work in progress. On Saturday, the installer for the SPC floor came around to measure out all of the space that needs to be laid down, to provide a quote to our builder, who will organize that, and we're looking at the Cotto flooring. Well, that's about it for this week. Just leave you a few shots externally of the house. Look forward to the work in week 20, which I suspect will focus heavily on electrical installation and finishing off column rendering. Cheers for now, and see you next week.